everybody, welcome back to my channel. How's it going? Welcome. Thank you for coming and all that jazz. We're going to talk a little bit about how we manage our time and how we
Badly.
how we work our schedules for writing, because writing is so much more than writing. Unfortunately, it'd be great if it was just writing, but it's not. But Aphrodite and Q are both here on YouTube. Q is streaming as well. I'll go turn on her stream quietly in my background in a moment. So why don't we have everybody introduce themselves? We will start with those of us who are not real people. The cow.
Hello, my name is Cow J, and I am a writer of things, and yes, I am a cow today.
There you go. Cow J, the destroyer.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, and to Morgan.
Hi, I'm Morgan Hazelwood. I usually say actively queering, but right now I'm kind of waiting for the YA fantasy traditional publishing side to fix its backlog problem and, no longer have 10 times the number of queries per week that they did 2 years ago before getting back in the query trenches. But I write fantasy and I blog, vlog, and podcast, writing tips from the pros and my own writerly musings. And I'm a person and my name's Morgan Hazelwood. It's right there, I think.
Yes, it is. Everybody's names are on screen. I got it to work. I was having trouble with it I don't know what happened, but a couple weeks ago, my OBS started acting weird and a bunch of stuff broke. And then like 2 weeks ago, I got on Twitch and all of my audio was broken. So I just restarted everything this time around, and it seems to be working out pretty well for that. So we are not doing sprints, Aphrodite. We are just doing chats on Fridays now because sprints are really not doing me any favors these days. That could change, but for now, just it's likely just going to be us chatting about some stuff. So yeah. Also, I'm having focus problems, which is part of the reason we're talking about this. But I should say, I am Sarah Scharneber, and this is my channel, and I write horror predominantly, although sometimes I write other things, although I can't just like turn off the spookiness inside of me. So everything's a little bit dark. And then this is my co-host. His name is Mr. Crowley. And
Hi, Mr. Crowley.
He is not interested in being awakened by me, but I awakened him anyway. Because I'm a wonderful mother. So, look at him. Don't! Just let me go back to bed! What is your problem?
And
I am an old man. I need my sleep.
And if my face gets bit at any point, his name is Catechus, and he's 18 months of high-strung energy.
Yes. He's a little insane.
And he got a window today, so I had people.
Eventually, he'll be really excited about that.
Once it has like a windowsill and a spot for him to curl up, and there's not plastic drapes all over my house, which is why my background is blurred right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, it'd be like that. I don't know why mine is. Mine just is. Yeah. Spence said, speaking of spookiness, and Sarah, I want to thank you for traumatizing my husband yesterday, by the way. It was hella amusing. So, we played Phasmophobia because I have had Phasmophobia for several months, but I've gone to play it a couple times, and it's one of those ones that has voice recognition in it. So I'm sitting in my living room all by myself being like, John Doe, can you speak into this thing? And I feel like a total moron. So I was like, I need someone else to be there so at least there's another person talking so I'm not only talking to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Phasmophobia, it's like a ghost hunting game. So yeah, but it's one of those games I have to wear a patch to really play it, or I'll throw up. But yeah, I figured out it was just going to be the two of us, and I was like, can I talk you into doing this? And he was like, yeah, so There
Hey.
was
Yes, you can talk me into that.
yes, we both did die. It happened.
Multiple times?
I only died once. He may have died twice. But he may have only died. No, he died twice. I think. Maybe once. I don't remember. He literally jumped an entire foot off the bed when your character appeared in front of him once. Yeah, we played it over on Twitch. The VOD is still up on Twitch, so you can go watch it. And Fairy Law Gaming is his channel if you want to
That's okay.
see his point of view. So.
See, this is why I have one name.
Yeah. I'm Wordsmith Sarah everywhere, but yeah, that's Spence's husband's channel is Fairy Law Gaming.
Okay.
So.
I'm going to promptly forget that.
No, but I'm saying like that's his name everywhere though. So.
His name is Spence's husband.
No, he has a lot of names actually. I just call him Fairy Law because I never know for sure what
Who knows
name.
what name?
Right. So I just call you by, like, if I'm referring to anyone, I just refer to them by their internet name.
That makes sense.
You know? Like, it's just how I do it. I touched his shoulder at one point and I could see his soul leave his body.
Nice.
I know at one point he said, "Don't do that." And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Not you, it was Haley." So it was quite a thing.
That's fantastic.
It was a good time.
Brilliant.
Okay, I mean, I'm on Twitch right now, but you can look at the VOD over there.
Yeah. I said hi over on Twitch, making you do double duty, but you're not going to say it.
Nope, I actually wasn't even going to look at the chat, to be real, because I already started talking to the chat. And everybody has a wrench, and it's making it very hard to figure out who I've already seen. Everybody's all wrenchy. Alright, I'll say duty. Okay.
Yay!
That was, yes, there you go.
Morgan wins.
I mean, I think CJ likes it and feels like it's a win for her as well.
I do.
Yeah.
But she won't do it for me. She's still nice to you.
Aphrodite said
She
I really want to...
usually doesn't.
Right?
She usually doesn't. She's just in a good mood today.
I'm in a there's a kitten been visiting my house mood today. I already have a plan. If the kitten shows up, then I re-enter with my phone and I go outside and try to let you guys see the kitten.
I'm okay with that.
She's not like little bitty, not like a little kitten. She's like 6 months old or something.
Aww.
So, but Zug found her. And then
they're BFFs now, right?
Yeah, Zug like waits for her. So, I don't know. She doesn't seem concerned, so we'll see. She said he spent all day looking up how to play it better. I know he did message me on Twitter and told me that he does want to play again. And then told me some other things that we had been doing wrong. The thing is that a lot of people, you know, just had to figure it out themselves anyway, so I kind of figured we could, but apparently there was stuff we just didn't. I don't know. I don't know. Aphrodite, why can't you play games with us? You could. You could play games. It'll be fun.
They are a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah, it would be a blast. Oh, and Godzilla is here. Hello, Godzilla 2014.
Is that better than like the 2016 version?
I don't know. Which Godzilla is the best Godzilla? That's the question for the night. Which Godzilla is the best Godzilla? That is for the answers. Okay, let's actually talk about writing. So yeah. The writing is not just writing, obviously, unfortunately, all of the above. It would be great if it was, but it's not. So what do you guys schedule doing things like writing, editing, marketing? Do you schedule times to do those separately? Or do you do them when you're like, these words aren't coming right? Or like, because I have a really hard time managing all of the pieces. I'm usually doing a really good job at one of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to... Like, if I'm doing a NaNoWriMo and I'm just, like, trucking, there's nothing else happening. There's no... Like, my social media presence is mostly me just talking shit like I usually do, but there's no promo or anything. Like, it's just not... I don't know.
I have not done a good job of scheduling anything except writing. My hope was that when I left my office job, I would do better at that. And I did for a little bit. I had some really good plans, and for about 2 years, I was really sticking to them. And then the Rona hit.
Right.
And the last 2 years, 3 years, something like that, have been really hit and miss. So like last April, I basically did a personal nano. I didn't join camp or anything. I just wrote a book. And I have plans to write or to edit in July. Like that's my goal, is to edit what I wrote last year. But I have not done a good job of organizing my writing time and my writing schedule. Part of that's because this is something I've been struggling with the last couple of years, especially when you don't work a 9 to 5 and your schedule is not consistent all the time. It's very easy to get into a it's not a laziness.
It's like I'm always at work, I'm never at work.
Yeah. And so one of the things I'm working on now is planning for this fall. Like I have July scheduled. June is kind of I'm preparing for something for my, I'm doing adult lessons. I'm doing lessons for adults. Let me put it that way.
Yes, not adult lessons.
Not adult lessons.
CJ will not teach you how to do any sort of adult-related materials.
No. I will, however, I am offering, I'm offering adult lessons for adults this summer. And so most of June is planning for that. In July, I have plans already in place of how I'm going to edit, what I'm going to do, and I've already got that prepped. And then in August, I'm planning to plan.
That's fair.
So one of the things that I do like about my schedule is that because I teach mostly school-age children, they don't have any freedom until after school. So generally I have the morning and early afternoon to do writing. And when I first started this process of not being a 9 to 5er, I would set aside time in the morning, and my original intention was to write 3 days a week, and then the other 2 days a week focus on marketing and research. It kind of helped. Like I did a little bit of it. And I tried some different things. I tried video. I tried the whole video thing. I did that for a little bit. And it turns out I really hate video editing. So that did not last. I
kind of like it.
I know you do, and that's okay.
I'm into weird things, though.
I do
it's
zero.
part of the darkness of your soul.
I do none.
No?
None. You've seen my streams. You've seen my videos. None.
I made a new little overlay and I just ran it. It's super cute. I'm very proud of it.
I'm not gonna lie. I love it.
It's a little Bigfoot feet. I hit it a couple times so you guys can see it a couple times. But Spence said, if your schedule isn't consistent, it is up to other people to some degree. Creating any consistency in your habits can be borderline impossible. Yeah, that's the thing. And the other thing is that I think we underestimate how difficult certain things are that are not writing. Like having a full-time job takes a lot more out of you than the 40 hours.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to allow yourself to identify that as a problem, because it's really easy to start to tell yourself that you're slacking off and that you're just not even trying. But like, you're also feeding yourself or your family and or 3 cats and a random kitten in the neighborhood. So to discount that as you wasting time is unreasonable. And I think it's really easy to accidentally do that to yourself.
Yes. Also, we talked about this a little bit when we talked about productivity. This idea that you have to be productive all the time, or that you have to always be hustling, or you have to always be on, can be really damaging. And that can, especially like one of my problems is, and I'm sure there are other people will identify with this. If you have any kind of mental health issues,
mm-hmm.
if you head into a spiral of any kind, it can absolutely derail any plans you might have had.
Yeah.
And you end up in a survival mode that is incredibly difficult to get out of. There's also something to be said for, and this is something I've recently, I've recently started to come to terms with the mindset, the corporate mindset of our culture or economy, however you want to say that. One of the things that I've been doing the last couple of weeks is assessing when I have the most energy. So like, I'm not a morning person. I'm not, but I am a night person. And so I do really well from about 10 a.m. until about 2 p.m. And then I'm worthless until about 7. So one of the things I've been working towards is figuring out a schedule that will work with
mm-hmm.
that kind of.
Yeah. Aphrodite said that she gets up for work like she has to leave and will get dressed and everything, and also does not work in her bedroom and has a dedicated workspace and treats it as like her job area. And I used to be really good at that. But I was single then.
I think it took me about 9 months of pandemic before that started to slough off.
Yeah.
And I've definitely struggled with motivation issues and stuff. And for me, I have to remember that just because I can do NaNoWriMo in November does not mean it's sustainable, and that I shouldn't put my monthly goals on, well, on a good month, I can edit 10 pages in 2 hours. And so if I do 2 sessions a week, it should average out to this much, and surely I have that much time. I can't budget that every month because I go through phases. I go through different energy levels, and I have different stuff going on in my life at different times. Yeah. And I think I've mentioned before that one of the things I used to do was set monthly goals, because I'm one of those, New Year's resolutioners. And I learned that if I had like, hey, do stuff, month of reading and relaxing, if I didn't finish the first 2 months, I would keep going and then not finish and keep going and never get that recoup time. And that's necessary for me for my process.
Yes.
Like I've tried not, and then I end up with that feeling of always, I should be writing, but I don't have the energy to write, so I will avoid it. So I will feel worse for not, and that's just a cycle you can really get into. So I've learned that I really need to budget my time away from my writing, so that my break, if it's not happening, even though I've missed my deadline, I say I will not work on it for 2 weeks and I will take that break, because if I don't, then I get caught up in that cycle. And if it's not progressing, I usually do need some time away to just let my brain process and figure out where we're going with it. But earlier we were talking about how we schedule our time. And for me, I find unless it's like Nano, my writing time slides away because my blog time is concrete and has a deadline, which I am really good at deadlines and really bad at nebulous stuff, even if it's self deadlines. So usually my blog post goes up the night before, and I do it the night before, so I don't have a week and a half or 2 days or whatever to stress about it and make it perfect. If I do it the night before, at some point between 12:30 in the morning and 2 a.m., I go good a frig enough and upload it and just get it out there. And that's how I've managed to not miss a week. But I've noticed with my author spotlights, I've got so many that I feel overwhelmed and I keep missing them on the schedule and stuff like that. And so they're not fun anymore. And I think I'm going to reach out to one of my main suppliers and be like, hey, I've got a 6-month backlog. Let's stop.
Yeah.
Because it's just not what I want to do right now. And I'm a little overwhelmed, and that's not good. But for my writing, I was trying to make it through, and I do set aside time. My time to write is usually Sunday afternoons, and it was Friday evenings at Sarah's stream during sprints. And I find sprints work great for writing and crap for editing or anything else for me. Yeah. So during Nano, it was great. When it wasn't Nano, I would work on blog stuff usually, and it still got done. So I try to set aside, I think, 2 to 3 hour chunks, somewhere between 2 and 3 times a week when it's not Nano. And as I mentioned, I found out why Camp Nano was failing for me is if I am rested and everything else aligns and I'm doing a Camp Nano, I need to set a higher goal than I had been. Because if I don't have enough momentum, I start making excuses and don't finish it. So
yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I think in a non-Nano month, 3 times a week is probably the most you're going to get out of me. And 2/3 of that is for the blog.
Yeah. Yeah. What about when you're editing? Like, I find that when I'm editing, I kind of need to stack it back to back more so that I can be more thorough on it.
I binge through my editing. I find it works better in longer chunks and not spread out. If I pace myself too much, I forget where I left off.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't do it in 20-minute increments. I need a half hour minimally, but usually a 2-hour chunk.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I used to edit like at diners. Like I would take my book with me to a diner and I would sit at a diner all by myself. It would just be me and my coffee, and then the server would come fill my coffee, and it was just like zone time.
Nice.
But that has been like I can't do that still.
Yeah.
I can't go sit at a diner. No. Aphrodite said I cannot edit online at all. And I mainly come to sprints to hang out with writers. I never get much done until after I sign off. I think that's just because I'm used to writing alone, really. And I think there is something to be said for writing alone. Like, I think there is to be disconnected from like chatter and stuff. I think there's definitely something to be said for that. And for me, that seems to be working better lately. At one point, I wouldn't have told you that. So I think it's possible that it also changes over time, depending on, you know, your writing style and what you're writing,
and also your circumstances.
Yeah.
I find oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say I find sprinting for me I'm not great at sprinting when watching other people. I wander off halfway through and stuff, but when I'm on stream, I feel obligated to do something and sit in the chair. So that helps a bit more. But sometimes I just go on the Discord, and my local NaNoWriMo group has sprints. And even if nobody else is sprinting, I like to track my pacing.
Mm-hmm.
And so by putting in my start word count and end word count, I can tell myself, oh yeah, 300 words in, 20 minutes, I'm on average.
Right.
More than that, yay. Slower than that, okay, I got to buckle down and focus. But
yeah,
sprints don't work for editing, and 90% of my life is editing and blog.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, most people probably spend more time editing if they're editing themselves, not if somebody who has like a whole team who does, that's a different story. But if you're editing yourself, I would say more of your story time really does go into editing. For most people, there are people who spit out clean.
And maybe my stuff is clean, but I haven't gotten somebody else to publish it yet. So I keep going over it because we're writers and we can always make things better.
Right.
Or worse.
Or worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Aphrodite said, I love the idea of having my writer friends around, but if I'm honest, I do better alone. I just get tired of alone, if you know what I mean. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And that's part of the reason that I started doing writing stuff on the internet, was that it's a lot easier to be like, yep, and I'm done. And have it really be done. Otherwise, then all of a sudden you're in person, and then so-and-so is going to go, they're going to come over to your house now and hang out, and now you're derailed again, and you have to drive home, and that's derailing. Like,
yeah,
I can just be like, nope, we're done talking now. I'll see you guys later. Turn it off and go back to what I'm doing, or go do something else. And that is much better for me. So
I also I struggle with social anxiety, so just getting to a place in person can be overwhelming, and so online really works for me. However, Morgan, you said you do better if you're on the stream. I am the opposite. I do better if I am not on the stream. Partially because when I'm on stream, my internet's already up.
Mm-hmm.
And I have it on my computer. Whereas often when I write on a stream, like I'm watching somebody, I'm watching it on my phone. And I can't do anything else on my phone if I'm watching something. And so I'll use my AlphaSmart. And so I'm not connected to the internet. I'm not distracted. I get more done that way.
It's the second time today I've knocked my e-cigarette over and scared the piss out of myself. The first time, though, I did flip my pop can. I said pop. That was weird. My soda can off of the desk and upside down. I've been around these weird Midwesterners too long, and now I'm saying pop.
Midwesterner.
Yeah, I don't say pop. Weird. I don't know. Like, that just really weirded me out. I don't know where that came from.
Culture is coming for you.
Aphrodite said, I write pretty clean, but my first pass is also pretty bland. My revisions are so needed to bring the story to a real status, at least the way I like to tell tales.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that the differences between how different people do it is really interesting. And it's like one of the coolest parts about being in a community like a writing community. It's just that, like, all kinds of people do things different and still get, like, good results, but they just do it different.
Yeah.
So I've heard some people use like not really rituals, but certain habits and stuff that get them in the writing mode. And because once you do something, I don't know, 7 times, it starts to really trigger. Like when you do, some people have like a specific hat they might put on, or I get a cup of water and I make sure all my messages are cleared, and then I sit down and I can't get up until I finish my cup of water. And just like or I listen to this one playlist or something when I'm writing.
Yeah.
Do y'all have anything that like gets you in the writing mood?
I like to
Have
do
you
a bump of
tried to-
coke and bloodletting. No.
Have you tried to create maybe one? I'm thinking that I might need to get back to it.
In the past,
Mhm.
it's not a playlist, but
Mhm.
I had a song that would start my playlists. Whatever playlist I chose, that would always be at the top. And that was like, that would get my mind into whatever I was doing. In fact, to this day, whenever I hear that song, and it's probably been, I don't know, 5 or 6 years since I've done that, I'm like, oh, I need to go write something. Like, so I think as I look at how I'm going to function this fall, that is one of the things that I've debated, doing, like building a couple of playlists or building a couple of, I think the last couple of years I've used some YouTube playlists, but again, the internet is it's
Nemesis.
it is my nemesis when it comes to writing, because I want so badly to not do anything with it. But when I use like a YouTube playlist, or I really like, there's a couple of YouTube channels that do nothing but like ambient noise or background noise, or music with background noise, and I love that. But it also causes me to be like, oh look, there's a suggested video I haven't watched yet, or oh, I got an email, I should go check that. And it derails me.
I know there's a lot of people who like to create their own playlists and stuff, but I am a slacker. I usually just go to Pandora and I give it a seed song based on like a mood or an era or like a voice or something, and then just thumb up stuff for about 3 days, and then I have a playlist. And it, adds suggested songs, so there's some variety and stuff in there. But rather than me trying to think and rack my brain and remember the title and or artist of whoever sung that whatever song.
Yeah, I don't really make playlists. I have a couple of playlists, but they're not really for writing specifically. I tend to watch stuff while I'm writing. And I've said that a lot, I think. So I don't think I need to elaborate, because I think everybody's already heard about it. So, Aphrodite said, I'm a geek. I love making playlists, which I call soundtracks for the tale. Yeah, and I know a lot of people are really into that. I've made one like mood thing for a story, and the story didn't work out, so there's that. But I have a lo-fi playlist, and the lo-fi playlist is all licensed, and that's what's playing in the background of my videos, including right now.
Nice.
But that's all like Adobe lo-fi shit. So,
yeah.
And sometimes I do just turn it on and like chill out to it, but not all the time. But I also don't get distracted by YouTube. Like if I turn on YouTube Music, I just don't even notice anything. And part of it might be because I have premium, so I like on my phone I can turn YouTube off and still have the music play.
Yeah, and that does make a difference, because that's part of my issues, that it has to stay on.
Yeah. Yeah, but I also tend to do that stuff on my computer anyway. So
And the ads remind, when the ads are louder and remind you that it's still playing and draw your attention back in if you
Yeah.
don't have the
Aphrodite
letting
Stream
it
Elements is
back up.
stupid, and it asks the same question on like a schedule. And obviously the schedule is faulty.
My favorite color is still dark red, just like it was 10 minutes ago.
Yep, I don't usually have a very active chat on Twitch, so it doesn't, like, I don't see how frequently these things pop up until I get an active enough Twitch. And then I can see, like, what I need to alter. And the way you set those up is very odd, because it's like, they post, like, after 5 messages within 6 minutes, and, like, it's just a very odd formula, so it's hard for me to, like, conceptualize how frequently that is until I see it in action.
Right.
So yeah, that's why Stream Elements is just, like, digging on your favorite color obsessively. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like every time I go to start editing something, that something gets in the way and I don't finish it, and then I'm like, uh-oh, now I have to start over. Because I don't remember where I left off. So, where'd CJ go?
She popped out for a minute.
Oh.
She posted in the chat.
Oh, okay. I can't see that chat.
So for I'm sorry, you just said something and I was gonna say something in response. What did you just say?
That's a good question. Oh, about having to start over because I keep feeling like
Yeah.
yeah, like
So,
I need to go back and start over.
for one of the things I was really stuck on my editing for my space fantasy, and one of the things I did was I made a chart with all the scenes, and I went through one character at a time because I switched up points of view, and that mostly helped. Although, bless you, I'm not sure if it was because it was a new approach or because it was a better approach, you know?
Mhm.
Sometimes just switching things up will help.
That's true.
And I have people swear by switching up the fonts or
I do
making
that.
it read aloud to you.
Yes, I do that too.
I enjoy the South African accent.
I just really like to like alter it sometimes, and I like to just change it so like all of a sudden it's like and then you change it over and then it's all high pitched and it's ridiculous. I like it. It's
But
funny.
half the time I just read it aloud
Yeah.
to myself. So
Yeah, that is a big thing. When I was doing Gone Fishing, the video story I have out,
sure.
I had to re-record it like 3 different times because I started to read it and I was like, shit, that doesn't sound right. I'm like, okay, well, I'll have to fix it and then reread it.
Yeah.
So, and I think something got through that I was like, okay, this is the 3rd fucking time, and that doesn't sound great, but good.
Yeah. That, that's half the reason I have a video blog is because I was reading it aloud anyway to make sure that my blog post was ready for the week.
Mm-hmm.
So I added a camera, and it's half of it is my editing process for the blog post anyway.
Gotcha.
And that's why I have a podcast, because it adds nothing to my life other than once a quarter I have to set them up to send all the videos to my brother-in-law so he can add the intro, outro, and volume adjust, and then upload the audio only from my YouTube videos.
Gotcha.
So, and it gets it there for people who prefer podcasts over YouTube.
Yeah.
Because they find it less distracting.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited about that, Aphrodite. She said that I inspired her to do readings for her Patreon that will be coming in later months. That is exciting.
Yay. That is an awesome thing to add, because I love recycling content that you already have and just putting it there in formats that people might find more accessible, or, you know.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing the video story. Like, it's all stock footage. Like, but I had a good time with it. I really like searching stock footage, apparently, because I did a lot of it and I enjoyed it.
My audio podcast, Anansi Storytime, we also do a few other things, and one of the things we've done is take stock footage and add like random background music, and then we come up with pretend commercials based on whatever they make us think of, and we have so much fun doing those.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
That's awesome.
Oh goodness, I didn't have a whole lot written down for this, so if the chat has anything they want to talk about, now would be a great time.
I have a blog post based on taming the squirrel. Is the lack of focus or obstacles derailing you? Here are some tips. So I've got some questions from there. I can toss it in.
Okay.
I guess the real question is, how you can prioritize your writing and what you need and what tools will get you there. Do you need a certain place? Do you need your family to leave you alone? Do you say, hey, this is pizza day. We're ordering pizza, leave me alone. I'm going to go do it. Just managing your other obligations and making sure that your writing is not the priority that keeps getting bumped.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I was going to mention earlier that I got derailed off of. But if you're going to have a full-time job, like one of the things you need to do is you really do need to be taking your time off. Because if you're not getting a break from your full-time job and you're trying to add writing and all that goes along with it to that mix, you are going to burn out even faster and probably harder. And so I think that's a key that sometimes gets forgotten, is that you need that recharge time as much for your writing as you do for your day job.
Yeah. You can't create if the well of creativity is empty.
Right.
And especially if your day job is something that requires any kind of mental gymnastics. I don't even know how to, like, I have worked jobs where I came home and the job was everything was so very regimented and dull that when I came home, I hadn't wasted any of my
brain power.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that kind of job was the kind of job where I had to have a discussion with my overlord and said, look, you may care about the bottom line and I don't. I'm just here to fill a chair and answer a phone.
Yes.
This is the CJ does not appreciate corporate America portion of this stream. In case you were wondering.
Listen, there are people in the world who thrive.
Brought to you by Wells Fargo.
It really is.
Uh-huh.
In case you didn't know, that was my job. I worked for Wells.
I mean, that is not a dig at Wells Fargo at all. That's a dig at your ability to work at a company like Wells Fargo.
And this is, I am just to be clear, I am fully aware of the fact that there are people who work for companies like Wells who get great joy out of it. I have a sister who works for Wells. She's worked for them for almost 20 years. She's amazing at her job. She loves her job. It works for her. Corporate America doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I have a story about Wells Fargo.
No way.
It's a very short story and doesn't actually involve them. But when my husband and I, my now ex-husband and I, were on the rocks and we were going through counseling, we referred to our marital issues as the Wells Fargo incident because we kept seeing Wells Fargo ads show up on like whatever game we were playing at the time. So yeah, our marriage falling apart was the Wells Fargo incident.
That's fantastic.
And I totally forgotten that until you mentioned it.
Oh, I'm so glad we could bring that back for you.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Things are silly.
But if you work in a job where you care about what you're doing,
yep,
where it does require you when I left my office job, I was working for a nonprofit and I loved the people I worked with. I believed in what we were doing. But I reached a point where it became very clear that all of my, well, not all, but a vast majority of my creative endeavor was going into that job.
Yeah.
And so something had to give. And I still, one of the things I struggle with, and maybe, I don't know if this is the right topic for this, but one of the things that I need to consistently remind myself is just because I can do something outside of like my day, like I'm very active in my church. I have a bad habit of somebody says, oh, hey, we need somebody to do this thing. And I'm like, oh, that'll only take me X number of hours per week. I can do that because I have X number of hours per week for that. And like Sarah said, I have a tendency to forget that that number of hours is probably the number of hours I used for peeing or for eating or possibly for sleeping or maybe just for reading and relaxing and chilling after dealing with children for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so reminding myself that, and I think Morgan, you said this too, downtime is important, but so is recognizing how much of your life you do other things in.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm doing as part of my prep for the fall is, so when I left my corporate job, my office job, one of the things that convinced me I needed to do it was that I sat down and I figured out how much time I was spending on everything I did. And that included eating and sleeping and going to the bathroom and brushing my teeth and all of those things. And I need to do that again so that I have a very clear idea of how much time I do have to write or to edit or to do marketing. And then I have a better idea of where that can fit into my life.
Yeah. My day job right now is a software engineer, and sometimes I'm testing and sometimes I'm writing code and sometimes I'm debugging. And testing, especially when somebody already has the test cases written out and I'm just following a procedure, is tedious and boring and is totally fine for my creativity. Writing code is sort of creative and a lot of puzzle solving, but sometimes hypes me up. Debugging is draining as all get all, and there's just not much going to get done when I do that. So I just have to pay attention to what development phase I'm in, what project I'm on, and how soon the deliverables are for some of those, and that definitely affects my energy level and my cope and stuff like that. But I do know, because I budget and plan around NaNoWriMo for like April and July and November, that gives me time to think about what I'm gonna write and get world building and some of the other stuff that I really enjoy doing done outside of that time, so that I can focus on the writing portion of it. And I keep evaluating how much of my writing time is going towards my blog and stuff that is not helping my writing career at all, and how much is going towards actual writing. And I really struggle with letting go of anything I've picked up, because I was like, oh, it's just an extra half hour.
Yep.
But it's not. But some of it's ways to get back to the community. Some of it is, I hate missing a week after having like a 5-7 year streak of not missing a week. And so, I don't want to let myself down. I don't want. So there's a lot, and there is something to be said for, I am writing and putting out online every week something. And so even when my creative well is dry, I'm still writing. I'm still, at least putting sentences together that are coherent and communicate a message.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I sometimes think maybe I'll just do a picture post or something, but I was like, oh, maybe I'll drop back once I get published. And I mean, I've got a short story out there, which is in Sarah's wheelhouse because it's slightly horror. But other than that, I'm not out there yet, and I keep thinking maybe I should be. But right now, post pandemic, I think even the indie market's a little crowded right now, and maybe I'll just take a breather and come back in a year or two.
Yeah.
While still writing and working on new stuff. I'm trying not to be that person who worked on the same story for a decade. I mean, yes, but I wrote 4 other things in the meantime, so I don't know.
Sorry, the stream elements timed out Aphrodite, and I was trying to figure out why.
Okay, I was confused on that.
Yeah, I think she posted too quickly in succession, but also I can't find a setting that tells it to not do that.
Oh, that's horrible.
So I'm sure it's here. It's just a matter of where the fuck here is.
Yeah, Stream Elements is being a jerk today. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can't find the... I don't know. It's pissing me off.
So yeah. Anyway, I think my big point was, blogging gives me that instant feedback, even if my stories take so much longer. So it's hard to give that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I cannot find where it tells me. Switch to light mode. There's nothing on this page. The user management page, which is where I think that is probably, it's not working. So.
Oh dear.
Of course.
That's frustrating.
I don't know what the deal is. It's a bunch of bullshit is what it is. Anyway. Sorry guys. I'm doing too much.
It happens. So, we talked about how much time we set aside for writing. We talked about rituals. We talked about things we do to get ourselves in the mood. We talked about not letting our schedules control us, but keeping writing a priority. I don't know what else there is to say.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having trouble just managing everything, and I think that's more why I wanted to talk about this. Is just that I feel like I'm constantly like, oh, I should have been doing that thing.
Right.
One of the things I've started doing is, as I said, I'm a software engineer, and I'm used to having like project management boards, and so I started using Trello to keep track of like all the interviews and which project I'm working on, and checking things off. Yes, I did my blog this week, just so I can see that progress, because I like checking things off to-do lists and being able to like look at what I have in my done list and being like, oh, that's how much, and looking at it, I can guesstimate how much time I spent on all these things. So I don't piddle away my time without recognizing how much I've done. So some of it is to keep track of it, and some of it is to make myself recognize how much I'm doing.
Right. I use Evernote,
Okay.
but I use it. I have never used it for writing. I use it for lessons, and I started using it during the pandemic when I went from in-person lessons to virtual lessons.
Okay.
Because I could share my notes. All of my students get a notebook, and I didn't have a physical notebook for them, and some of them, their writing isn't legible. So I started putting my notes in Evernote. So each kid has a folder, and they have their notes in there, and it has a date and everything. And then I can either share it to their parents' email, or I more often take a screenshot and send it to their phone via text. And that has worked really well. And so one of the things I've debated doing is shifting some of my planning for writing to Evernote because I really do like it as a program. On the other hand, one of the things that I've been using for writing is Google Docs or Google Drive. And so that may be, I hesitate to use the same thing for both programs because I'll get in there and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do writing things. I'll be like, oh, I need to look at that. Oh, I need to go get music for that kid. Oh, I need to, and I'll be thinking about studio
Can you have
stuff.
2 separate accounts?
I'm sure I could, but I would probably have to pay for it.
Gotcha. So as I said, I use Trello, and I don't know how many of you know what it is, but you can set up different columns and different tasks. And I just like dragging things from the to-do list into the working on list and then waiting on somebody else list. I like that one, especially for like beta readers and stuff. And then the done column, I love. But I've heard some people use it instead of Post-it notes for like storyboarding for their stories, for like the different acts and the structure, especially people who like to rearrange scenes and stuff. So I just wanted to put that out there as another way you can use it. And it's free and it's online and you can color code stuff, which makes my little type A heart happy.
My boss at my part-time job right now, she uses a to-do list app that you pop bubbles when you finish something, and she finds it very cathartic. I think it's called Bubble Tasks. I think that's what it's called. She loves it.
Do you find cutesy stuff like that helps you? I find that it does kind of in a short term. Like if I do it for a weekend, it might work for me for the weekend.
Yeah.
But after that, it's kind of dead. So like if I have
an RPG.
Yeah, that one, I know some people, and what works for me just works for me, but like,
yeah,
when I try something, it might work for like 3 days, and then I'm like, meh.
Yeah. And that's, I've tried Trello, I've tried a variety of different things. I use Google for scheduling, and I use it for storage and stuff. And so one of the things I thought about is adding another calendar for my writing stuff, because I have a tendency to, because my calendar gets really cluttered, because I do like to color code. I'm with you, Sarah. The cutesy stuff only lasts me for so long.
Yeah.
But color coding helps me, especially when I'm scheduling, because I can look down my calendar and say, oh, look, all of the purples are lessons that I have today, and the green stuff is church stuff, and this is that, and whatever. And I find that very helpful. And so, but I also found that when I've scheduled writing stuff on my calendar, it tends to get lost. So I'm wondering if I created a separate calendar just for writing, if that would alleviate the issue.
I could see how that might help. Yeah. I don't know.
Although now that Morgan's done such a glowing reference of Trello, now I'm like, well, maybe I should try that again.
You should pay me.
You and my sister, like, she finds stuff and she's like, this is the best thing I've ever tried. And then she's like, everybody has to try it now. And I'm like, you need to get some endorsement deals, my friend.
Paper to-do lists don't work for me because I'll remember more stuff, or I'll want to reorder them so the important stuff is at the top. And because I can click and drag, that helps me personally.
Yeah.
But I definitely go like 2-3 weeks without looking at it and then be like, oh bleep, I totally missed that. But it does put all the stuff in one place, and so when I keep up with it, I can find and hopefully assuming I didn't categorize stuff in my email,
Right.
I can find them all. Which I did. I reached out to somebody yesterday who I found their author spotlight from May of last year and was like, hey, so this got put in my sponsorship offers inbox instead of my author spotlight. And since I don't accept sponsors, I just like to collect the offers. I didn't do anything with it.
Right. Whoops.
Oops. Yeah.
Shit happens. Spence said, I'm such an underwriter, I can't fathom just moving scenes around. Like, no, if I need to move any of my scenes, it's a major rewrite. And then also said, Trello is pretty rad. My client and I use it to set up the social media calendar.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So there you go.
I think the moving scenes around is for people who are planners or who are working on fixing their pacing issues.
Yeah.
So if those aren't issues for you, then that's not really a thing. The main reason I might even try it is because right now I'm doing multiple points of view, and one of them hit the climax 2 chapters before the other one did, and we were cycling through, and so it doesn't work to have one in the denouement while the other is still ramping up.
Great.
So I had to move some stuff. I first time I've ever done this, but one of the ways I did it was I split chapters in different places so that I would end on more of a cliffhanger and then go into the next section.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So it helped. It really did. And I don't think I turned everything into a cliffhanger. I just think things towards the climax turned into cliffhangers, which seems pretty appropriate.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
fair.
feel too bad.
All right, well, I don't have a whole lot else. We don't have a set time. We're not doing writing sprints. So if you guys don't have anything else, we could wrap for the night. And
Yeah, I'm good.
we'll call it for a night. Go a little early tonight, and yeah. So why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? We'll go the opposite direction. We'll start with Morgan.
Hi, I'm Morgan Hazelwood. I am a fantasy author, and I blog, vlog, and podcast, writing tips from the pros, and my own writerly musings. This week, I was sharing the difference between coming of age versus YA over on the podcast, Writing Tips and Writerly Musings, and on the blog and the vlog, I was sharing tips on writing fight scenes, including some fight scenes that were favorites of the panelists from a convention I went to a couple weeks ago. So check them out. I'm Morgan Hazelwood everywhere except Twitter, where I'm Morgan Hazelwood.
Damn
So
it.
bitter about that.
That's me.
All right, CJ.
Hi, I'm CJ Blair, or tonight, Cow J Blair. I'm a writer of things. I'm also a piano teacher. If you are interested in piano, I am offering a 10-week course this summer for adults only, so 18 and over. It's not dirty or anything, it's just geared towards adults. And if you're interested in that, my website is down in my link tree below. Otherwise, you can check out my free YA fantasy serial, the South Dare Island Chronicles. That's also down there. And my cats have an Instagram, which you should go check out. So we now have 3 of them, and they're all insane.
True. That's true. And I am Sarah Scharnenberg, and whichever channel you're on my channel. You should follow / subscribe depending on which platform you're on. And everybody's link trees are down below, including some link trees of some other folks who are around the channel quite frequently. And then, yeah. So I will be on Twitch on Monday around 6 p.m. Central. I'll be on Twitch on Thursday. I'm everywhere. So just, I don't know, look at my link tree. So we'll see you guys all later. Have a good night. Bye-bye.